Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to the Daniel YouTube show. This is the third episode. It's going to be called Story. So, we're going to talk about story and stories, and we're going to talk about the stage they live in, and then what they are, the what of life. There's what, there's where, there's when, there's how. What is the story? And I'll hit my intro music and we'll begin.
Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm, dare to make it known. Standing by a purpose true, heeding God's command. Honor them, the faithful few. All hail to Daniel's band. Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm, dare to make it known. Many mighty men are lost, daring not to stand, who for God has been a host by joining Daniel's band. All right. Enjoy. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the intro song. That is an old hymn. Not the best singer, but kind of fun, kind of hokey. You can check out the whole hymn. It's called Dare to Be a Daniel. And if you like hymns, if you've never experienced hymns, or if you're not a Christian or don't know anything about Christianity, this is a really good show for you. Christianity is really, really interesting. The old hymns are really, really, really interesting. The story of Christianity is really, really interesting. We are not going to talk about Christianity. Well, everything, it goes full circle with me. I kind of just start with a center point and I just circle around to it. I usually try to put truth in the center of that circle point and then get to the truth somehow. And that's what we're going to do today, but we're going to focus on story. So story is what things are. Some people call history, his story, heresy. I've heard heresy being called as her story. That usually has a negative connotation. History usually has a positive connotation. Now, what that connotation is, that is the words. That also is what things are. So you hear the words. Our words in the English language is one of the most confusing languages. It's got to be one of the most confusing languages in the history of the world. I'm not a linguist. I don't know too much about language, but you just hear the words and just hear the other meanings in our words. Our words have different meanings. Here, I went here. I hear you. It's the same word, different meaning. I tried to learn Spanish before. I don't think they have that in Spanish. It seemed pretty simple, and then it was just different versions of the words for different contexts, whether it was past tense, pretense, and it seemed pretty simple, and it seemed like a great language, but for whatever reason, my brain couldn't handle it because I was raised with this crazy language, and I'm also like super dyslexic, and I think backwards, and I always start in the middle of stories or start in the end of the stories, and then I realize it halfway when I'm talking, and then I'm like, oh, I got to tell you the beginning of the story because your brain needs context, your brain needs a stage, it needs a map to navigate what we're talking about. And then the words are the rhythm and the rhyme and the harmonic energy of that experience, and then it creates this energy in us, it creates this emotion in us, and we live life that way. So that is a higher level of what people would call consciousness, the emotional part of it, the feeling of the story, why we are doing it. That's the spirituality of it. That's something people have really, really, really tapped into lately. And then also with politics. Politics has become the new spirituality, and everybody's walking around trying to be spiritual. What you're doing with spirit, that's the spirit of the soul, of the subconscious, and you're trying to have an emotional experience, which is great. But if that's all life is, if it's not just about living life too, it can get misconstrued as well. So I would just tell you a simple story, and then we will break down stories a little bit, and how they live in the mind, and how they're constructed in their mind, and how they can be misconstrued, and how you can steer people's lives. If you want to steal someone's spirituality, I guess I'll just start at the end, and then I'll go back to the beginning. The end is someone is trying to steal your spirituality. Someone is trying to steal your spirit. Someone is trying to steal your energy. Someone is trying to steal your emotions. How they are doing that, where they are doing that, why they are doing that. The why they are doing that is so they can feel emotionally greater than you. It's super simple. They want to live vicariously, not through you, but they want to just make life about them. Make a great name for yourself. I had a birthday recently. It was my day. Everybody else was living too, and no one would have known it was my birthday unless I came up to them and said, hey, it's my birthday. And they're like, oh, that's so great. Happy birthday. Because they knew in their energy, in their mind, in their heart, in their soul, that they love their birthday. They love when people pay attention to their birthday. And you feel, and people with empathy go, oh man, I want to celebrate your birthday with you. I want to have a cake. I want to blow out the candles. I want to let you make your wish on your day, on your special day. That's the energy of life that we all do this shared experience. And the more we do that, the more, oh, it's my birthday week, it's my birthday month. Oh, I can do whatever I want. Oh, I can just, I mean, I bartend for a living, and people come in, it's my birthday, I don't have to pay for a drink. And it's like, well, society will fail. Commerce will end if we don't have a system where we, because it's your birthday, all the systems of the world just go away. That's crazy. And most people used to think that's crazy. But now people are so self-consumed with themselves because the story of life has become about them. And it should be a shared experience and a reciprocal nature. Anyways, and that is the point of people's existence these days. People's existence, they want to worship themselves. I talk about flat earth a lot. The flat earth is the stage we live in. If you haven't gotten there yet, consciously in your mind that someone has lied to you, that someone put fake stories on the news, starting with the moon hoax, the fact that they landed on the moon, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Way I got to this understanding that it was faked, I watched a movie called Something Funny Happened on the Way to the Moon. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then I watched a documentary called The Principle.
It talked about the geocentric nature, and it talked about the timeline of space travel, the timeline of figuring out astrophysics, of space, of cosmology. So from the geocentric revolution to the heliocentric revolution to the aheliocentric revolution to which is what we basically live in now. And it's all theory. It's all belief. So that's what I'm getting to you with the story. It's all belief. It's all what you read his story. Oh, okay, we read history. Now people are like, just can't trust history. There's just too many liars out there. The conspiracy theorists out there, the truthers out there, they're going, well, is it just all lies? Is it just all David Rockefeller money? Is it just all big banker money? Just writing the history books like it's kind of true. It's like they don't know what to believe anymore. Now they do know what to believe. They know he's lying, and we're kind of creating a new, not history, but we're just retelling history. And like, no, there's just big money writing the stories for the world. Karl Rove wrote in his book, we are history's actors, meaning we write the stories of history. We are, they'll say history is written by those who win it. In the Bible, there's, they always talks about these people called the Watchers. I believe the Watchers are the conspiracy theorists. The Watchers are the people that were telling the story from, they were understanding what the prophets were saying, they were understanding what the masses were saying, the sheeple, and then they were interpreting it. So that is, let's get more specific. So let me tell you a story. Yeah, it's story time. So I got my coffee, and let me tell you a crazy story that happened to me and the Daniel. So I started calling myself the Daniel. My name is Daniel, Daniel. And so I've been a Christian most of my life, all my life. And I'll get into more what Christianity is. And some people, it's a personal experience, but it's also a God experience showing up in your life. Anyways, when I was in high school, senior year, took a worldview class and learned about how there are structures in this world and you fit in one of those worlds. Now the Greeks explain this. There was theism, monotheism, pantheism. Pantheism is all, God is in all. Monotheism is there's only one God, but that God has a system. That Christianity is God in three persons: God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Islam is God, Allah, Muhammad the Prophet, to get to God, and it's a very strict system. Same with Judaism. Judaism is God the Father, and then the law. Not the law. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me well. And then the other religions, the spirituality religions, Buddhism, Shintoism, Hinduism, those are ways to get to God, ways to almost steal God's power. They get into almost Satanism. Satanism is a religion. It's where Satan is a liar, a deceiver, whether he's an entity or not. I don't believe he is. I believe he's just a consciousness of energy, and it's for the many one. That's a saying on our money. And then you tap into that, and then you become God. You through materialism. That's like the first step, and you put the riches on either idols. And this is what the Bible is decrying. If you read the Old Testament, he doesn't call Satanism and that word Satan. That word doesn't really come. Well, it does in Job a little bit with Lucifer, but and Lucifer is only, it means the morning sun, and it only comes up once or twice. Jesus did call them Satans, and the Canaanite religions and these Moloch worshippers, they were different names. It was the same system. It was a system of idolatry. An idol is a fake god, and you're trying to recreate the creation with the created order. So this isn't my story yet. Sorry, I scrambled brain and I go on tangents. I'll get to my story in a second. But yeah, so I understood creation. I didn't know the creation. I didn't understand it. The first book in the Bible, Genesis, is the creation story, and then it seems to tell the creation story through the Adam and Eve story, and it's like a retelling of the creation. If you read Genesis 1, it says everything that was made was made. And then if you read Genesis 2, it tells us creation story again through Adam and Eve, and it's about the rise and the fall of mankind through this family, Adam being one, Eve being the end. And it's very poetic and it's very coded. The book of Genesis, people argue, the scholars argue, is it literal? Is it figurative? Is it, the Bible's like 2/3 poetry. There is a lot of poetry. I mean, the book of Deuteronomy, there's poems all throughout Deuteronomy. Check out Friends with Poetry, just a plug for that real quick. That's my poem channel. But so anyways, I was super into creationism, and I didn't understand the created order we lived in, but I just understood the theology of God, that if there was only one God, and you are not it, and you're saying there isn't a God, or you're saying there's other versions of God, then it's basically your way or the highway. It's the monotheism religions say it's this God. It's the Jews say no, it's the holy God interceded and had these men write this book, and this is the word of God. This is the 10 Commandments. And if you take the 10 Commandments and call them common law, it's still true. It's still rules that we live by. In Islam, if you are Muhammad, you get to be in charge, and then you can tap into Muhammad, and then you can be a god. That's why that religion becomes so popular with men. I don't know why women even think it's great. I don't know why these American women put hijabs on their head. It's the most oppressive thing towards women. It's the most oppressive thing towards anybody that isn't in charge. Anyways, so I was super into creationism because I understood that's how people that had money were hiding Christianity. They were confusing the creation and the creation story, and they were changing the creation story so we wouldn't deflect off God, telling us a lie that you can become a god all these different ways. Come a god, become with your career, and it's just an emotional experience. So this story is about you, and then you have this emotional outer experience. No, I'm not, like I said again, I just had a birthday, it was a great time. I don't have a problem with people mirroring energy. I'm going to get into the calendar later. The calendar was stolen. The calendar is weird. The calendar is wacky. And the people that made the calendar just put their names on it. They put some star symbols on it. Some of them put their own names on it. We have this weird, wacky calendar. A, to confuse your mind. B, so they could get off and feel great. Like, oh, they create this existence. There is an existence. You can check out my poems of Imagining the 10 Dimensions. You can check out the guy who wrote the book, Imagining the 10 Dimensions, Understand the 10 Dimensions we live in. The Masons and stuff think there's between 1 and 10 that exists, but then they go higher and they say between 11 and 33, and then it just loops back, and you can steal God's power, and it goes into Satanism. It goes into trying to recreate the creation. So I knew that the answers lied. I knew the arguments lied in the creation story. So I just started picking fights and arguing with people that were evolutionists, and I wasn't great at it, and I don't still. There's never one. I've never found a Christian young earther that I liked. There's Ken Hovind that does it. There's some other people, and I just don't like. They do dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were faked by the people that started the Smithsonian. It's very obvious. You just follow the money, and you're like, these guys are fake. And so, I mean, come on, you don't have to put your Columbo rain jacket on and know that people with big money own newspapers, they own TV stations, they own radio stations, they know how to distribute information, they know how to distribute gas, they know how to distribute oil, they know how to distribute sugar, they know how to, and then they put chemicals in it, and then they're like, oh, it wasn't me, and they know how to deflect the blame off of other people, and they are psychopaths. And when you follow the money, and if you just have an open heart and an open mind, you will get to it fast. If you just follow the opposite of what they're doing, you will figure out their story. You have to do the research yourself, though. I could tell you, I could go, this could be a research show where I prove to them. Only the people that are open to this information are going to agree. Everybody else is like, no, I'm not even going to watch it. So I just ramble and tell you the story and try to get you to maybe look at it for yourself. Now, my point, and let's go to the end again, I want to reflect energy off of you, and hopefully we can reflect it off of God, and or just, if you don't want that to be your God, you are not my God, and I am not going to worship you, and I'm not going to let you enslave me, and I'll come to your birthday party, and I'll sing happy birthday to you once a year, not your whole month, and not your whole week. I'm not going to worship you. You want to come to my birthday party? That's fun. I have a good time at my birthday party. I usually go for a hike or something, and I usually enjoy God's creation. And you're welcome to come. It's July 25th. So, anyways, I started arguing with people that were evolutionists. And one of those gentlemen was Joe Rogan. And he had the LCNI in his little show. And he did a comedy special where, I can't remember the quote, but it was something about the earth is some sort of organism, and that organism is like mold, and we are like cheese on the mold, growing in the mold, and the point is to kill the mold or something like that. And it was super, like, there's no meaning. I gotta watch the thing again, the actual quote, but it was super negative towards humans, and it's just a evolutionist worldview that just says humans are scum, basically. And I was like, and I think it pissed a lot of people off, even people that weren't Christians, and were like, dude, that's just weird. It's just a weird worldview. So anyways, I started sending him letters, and I got a couple of responses, and then he sent me a non-disclosure saying, not a non-disclosure, like what is that one where they say, knock it off, don't contact me anymore, or I'm going to sue you. And I was like, well, I'll just take it away. I'll just throw it away, you know. I said something crude, but I'm not going to say something crude on this because this is a family show. This is YouTube. Anyways, I forgot that I did that, and then I kind of left Joe alone for a while, and then later on, I had a show. So that was like early 2000s. So fast forward like 20 years, it's like 2016. 17, I started my show Living in Babylon, and it wasn't doing very well, and it was more like riddles, and I didn't have any direction. So I just started doing the show about the show and talking about certain events. And he had a guy named Mick West, who is a professional debunker. I had argued Mick West on Twitter, and I had beat him. We had an argument about the astral projection map, the AP map, which is the flat Earth map, and he said it wasn't, and I was like, it was, because it is the model of flat Earth, and it's not the model of the globe, because in the globe you have Antarctica as a solid landmass, and we don't. We have it, and if you put something in the center, then you're getting rid of Antarctica, and then you guys don't account for Antarctica in your map. Anyways, I won that argument hands down. So I don't like Mick West. I don't like Joe Rogan. They don't engage in a way that the public can see it. They don't have Eric Dubay on the show. They don't have David Wise on the show. They don't have ODD TV on the show. People that can argue flat Earth amazingly. They don't have people that can explain this lie of the stage you're on, so they can steal the story, so they can make it all about them. Now, Joe's pretty cool. He doesn't always make it out about them. He did really good with the coronavirus, and that they're hiding the medicine. I mean, he always goes good, and then he kind of goes back to like mainstream because he loves the audience. He loves the fame. It's really just all about fame, glory, and power, and that's what he's addicted to. Anyways, I don't want to pick on Joe too much, but let me just tell the story about him, because it comes up a lot, and they're like, oh, you the guy that Joe Rogan makes fun of? And it's like, I think so. I mean, I know he makes fun of me, but let me just tell you the whole story of Joe, because I did initiate it. I did pick on him first. And I do love making fun of him, but I'll try not to make fun of him anymore. So it kind of goes both ways. Anyways, so Joe said knock it off, and then I started picking on him again, and then I was like, see, I'm a big MMA fan, and I do appreciate his role of being the toughest fake Hollywood tough guy. Now in Hollywood, there were always these guys that were karate guys, that were fighters: Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and they were karate guys. They were good fighters. Chuck Norris is a decent fighter. He can do a head and arm throw. He can do the one Ronda does, and he can pin you with an armbar. He's even as an old man, but even as a young guy, he was good. Joe Rogan is a terrific black belt. I was joking around. Was trying to pick a fight with him. I do MMA, but like at a very like amateur level. Not a great jiu-jitsu practitioner. I'd like to wrestle, but I'm not very good. Not a very good striker, but I'm a tough guy. And like in MMA, I'm okay. Joe's never had a fight. I was like, I'd be a perfect matchup for him. I like that matchup. I'm a little taller than him. We're around the same size. He is really strong. I don't think he's very fast. I think he's good at kicking. I'm better at hands. He's really, really good on the ground. I'd have a really hard time with him on the ground. So anyways, I was trying to pick a fight with him for like a match. And just for fun, just, to get some, and I don't like him because he's this evolutionist and he knows the truth, but then he plays with the truth and he does it for glory, fame, and power. And it drives me crazy, and I like to poke the bear. So anyways, I was poking the bear and nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, one day it was April 16th, 2018, and my buddy was like, hey, it's my birthday. You want to come to my birthday party? Now, the weird thing about this is I hang out with this guy a lot. We go ride bikes, like to ride fixed gear bicycles to Los Angeles. Time I was living in Los Angeles. And he never invites me to his, he always offers me to go to his birthday party, but I never go because he's a friend, he's a coworker from work, and I don't do hard drugs. They sometimes do hard drugs. So, and they usually do hard drugs on his birthday. So I always stay clear of that. And usually don't hang out on his birthday. But he was like, hey, come, like everybody from work's gonna be there. I didn't work there anymore, but I knew all the people. And he's like, it's gonna be light. We're gonna go to a few bars, and then we're gonna go down to the Santa Monica Pier and do like the roller coasters and stuff. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Never actually done the stupid Ferris wheel and stuff, and I hadn't seen the friends from work in a while. And I had become pretty good friends with his roommates at that time who weren't coworkers, and I knew they weren't hard drug people. So I was like, oh, there's gonna be other non-hard drug people there. Like it will be fine. So I went. And then it turned into this big sabotage. And what it was an intervention for me. And it wasn't even his birthday, which was weird, and I didn't know. But they did this MK Ultra program on me, and they tied me down, and they put these phones in my and they made all these videos, and it was run by Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan had this big intervention for me, and it was a life-altering experience. And then within the life-altering experience of this, I'm not going to get into the event much after that because I don't really know. I know pieces of it, but what happened was after the event, the next day and even that night, they pretended like it didn't happen. Everybody involved in it, because I didn't take their deal. I kind of took their deal, but then there wasn't anything. They were going to make a documentary about me or do a show about me. And I was like, that's fine, but I want to be involved in it. I want to be able, if you're going to make it about flat earth, I want to have the flat earth model. I don't want you just to cut and paste what I say and just make me look like an idiot. If you think I'm an idiot, that's fine, but let me get my piece out. I'm on YouTube. Let me hear what I have to say. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that. We just want to mock you, and we just want to torture you. So that's what they did. So anyways, it was a horrific experience. But then the most horrific part about it was they wouldn't admit it happened. And that's the part of the story that I want to focus on, because when you do that, when you say, oh, this story didn't happen, this lives in my mind, but then collectively they don't believe it, it acts like it didn't happen. And that's alchemy, that's magic, that's globe earth, that's, oh, we don't have any proof that the earth is a spinning ball, But if we all believe it, it will become true. We can't get back to the moon, but let's just pretend like this $19 billion that Trump gave NASA in 2016 is going to get us back to the moon. And then in 2020 or 2000, whenever else, he gave them another $25 billion to go back to the moon. And they still haven't gone. Oh, they're going to go to the moon, then to Mars. And Trump's like, let's just go straight. Oh, no, the astronauts wanted to go to the moon to Mars. Trump was like, or one of them wanted to go straight there. And they were like, we can't do that. Trump wanted to go to the moon first, and they're like, we can't. Oh, no, that's what it was. And they're like, we can't do that because of the firmament, because of the Van Allen radiation belts. No, Joe Rogan's the original moon hoaxer. That's a whole nother story. He knows what's up. He knows about the flat Earth. But so if you do that, you can live in this alternate reality. And that is the alternate reality that the elites have created. That is the alternate reality that big money's created. And then the vast majority of the population in this earth has joined that reality because they live in what I call idolatry, an idol worship system where they can become the idol. You worship the idol, you worship the globe. Oh, this is my hopes and my dreams can be manifested on the moon or Mars or Venus, or what I want to create, this utopia, this socialist utopia, this new kind of government, this new type of spirituality where we can all get along on this other planet. That's the hopes and dreams, and I don't care how much money it takes to get there. No, we can. If you can't do it here, you can't do it there. It's the same problems here, it's the same problems there. Like, what's going to change? The problem in every existence is selfishness. There's me and then there's you, and I look at you and you look at me and I go, you're better than you, and I go, I'm better than you, and then we go, well, let's have a test, let's have a stage, let's compete for it. And most people go, no, let's have a fair system, and they won't understand that there is a stolen system that is not fair. And if we could have a fair system, what would happen is as soon as you got to be a part of making the fair system, you would be like, well, I came up with the system, so I get an extra point. I get an extra glory. You have to praise my name. Or what do I get now? As soon as the new government comes in, as soon as the socialist regime comes in, as soon as the communists take over, the people that got it in go, well, we get more money than everybody else because we brought it in. The system we live in now is where the producers go, we buy low, sell high. We give after our cost, we get to keep our money. In order for us to do it again, in order for us to get more money, we have to do it again. We have to make new crops. We have to spend money, and then we make money, and then it passes off that way. We feel good because we were successful, and then we pass it forward. If you hoard all the money and then control the value of the money and the value of worth, which is what's going on, which is what a money exchanger, what is a banker is. Check out my poems. It makes a lot of sense. Then if you can control people's minds, if you can tell them, oh, it's about get their hopes, get their dreams, focus on something else that it's an impossibility. It's an impossibility to become great. It is. You have to be humble in this life. You have to recycle yourself. Anybody who's married, anybody who has a spouse understands this. They understood that they got married for selfish reasons. The other person got married for selfish reasons. And then the two selfish people have to figure out how to compromise and love each other. They both have to sacrifice. They both have to give to each other. And when they both love each other, then that love grows and blossoms. And hopefully they're content with that. They have to be satisfied with that. And if you don't, and you pretend like it doesn't exist, you hide the truth from people, then you can steal that from their minds, and you can have them just having this experience where they're chasing something and they don't know what they're chasing. I'm trying to tell you what you're chasing. I'm trying to tell you that there is a dream state, and we are confused that we are living in that dream state. That dream state produces emotions, and then in those emotions, you try to make yourself feel great. You need to recycle that. After your birthday, the next day, it's someone else's birthday. It's someone else's special day. And then you don't just go and you have to you don't just go celebrate their birthday because when your birthday comes around, you want them to celebrate yours. If you can get yourself to sacrifice for them and really enjoy their birthday too, as much as you enjoy your birthday, enjoy giving them a present and not wanting anything in reciprocation. Treat others as you want to treat yourself, not for self-glorification, not so it comes back to you. mirror it to them. Yeah, if for it to exist, yeah, they have to mirror it back to you. But if you can do it so you don't want it to just solely come back to you, then you will have this true peace and patience and kindness and self-control. You have this really great life. But that's up to you. So anyways, these people did do a number on my brain, and we're like, we're just gonna pretend like it didn't exist. And then if I brought it up around them, they would just shun me, and they're just pretend like they don't know me. Like, these are best friends. These are friends I've been around my whole life. And then they partnered because Joe had all these actors and all these sports athletes, and he just put together this grandioso production. And because these other famous people and these rich people and these people, my friends and family, just get mesmerized by famous people. A famous person is just, they shine the light on the famous person, and the famous person thinks they're a god. And then these stupid actors got my friends and family to act like I don't exist. And it's fine because it's not fine, but I'm still, working on it. But I do exist, and I am here, and I can tell you the stories, and you can interact with my stories if you would like to, and you can have shared experiences, not just with the rest of the world, but with me too. And I do exist, and so do you, and it is beautiful. And there is a God above powering, and we'll get more into that. But the story of our lives is that there is a creator, there is a beginning, there is a middle, and there is an end. And we are not that beginning, we are not that middle, we are not that end. We are a beginning, we are a middle, we are a end. We were started, we are in the middle of that process, and we are moving towards that end. And so is everybody else. And together we are sharing those experiences. And if we can mirror it off the creator, I believe the whole experience will be better. We need to share our time. We need to share our wealth. We need to share our experiences. And we need to do it not just for self-glorification. We need to do it so other people get to live too. And when we do that, the world's going to change. It's going to be beautiful. So thanks for listening. Hopefully this wasn't too much of a rambling rant, but that's my story.